Good afternoon, members and friends, and welcome to the Educators for Harris call. My name is Chris Percy, Senior Director of Member Productions and MoveOn, and your host for our time together this evening. Look, I am excited to be with you tonight and to hear along with you from this amazing lineup of speakers. This call is so timely that our partners at the National Education Association and the American Federation of Teachers joined forces with MoveOn to highlight not only the importance of this election, and to make no mistake, though we've heard it many times before, this really is the most consequential election of our lifetimes. But also, we are here to discuss the importance of a strong public educational system in our country. We have seen what a Trump administration would do to our schools with his and Betsy DeVos's attempt to dismantle our public system, our public school system during his presidency. Not only that, we've seen a wave of book bans and attempts to rewrite history in our states across the country ever since. And then there's Project 2025. And look, if you have not read it, you should. It is the scariest thing you would read. Halloween is coming up. You should probably give it a look. But then there's Project 2025's educational agenda that proposes a drastic overhaul of federal education policy from early childhood through higher education. But I do not want to get ahead of our speakers, so I'm going to stop and we will hear from them later on tonight. Tonight, we are joined by some amazing guests from the National Education Association. NEA has affiliate organizations in every state in more than 14,000 communities across the United States. We have with us the prolific teacher, advocate, and leader, President Becky Pringle. So we are so excited to hear from her. We will also hear from the dynamo herself and president of the American Federation of Teachers, President Randi Weingarten. Then from my hometown, okay, Chi-Town, a woman that I have so much personal respect for and is making a real impact, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, Stacy Davis Gates. Also joining us tonight are two amazing teachers, Sarah Johnson and Antoinette Calameg. You will hear more about them later on as well, but I am so excited to hear from these dope teachers. I said before the call started tonight that I was a little afraid because I'm in a room full of teachers, and I was always the one who did not do their homework. I love school, but I did not like homework. So I'm slightly nervous, but for some reason I just feel like they're going to ask for the assignment. Anyway, our friend, Professor Emerita Nikki Giovanni, could not join us this evening. She sends her regrets and her regards to all of us in this work. So as I said, we are here for a dynamic call this evening. But before we get into that, I know many of you are thinking, I'm excited for this call, and I want to know how I can get involved these last 39 days. And that's right, I said 39 days. Well, it's real easy. All you have to do right now, because I'm sure you at your computers, just go to moveon.org/triple. That is moveon.org/TRIPLE. This is our newest page that makes it really easy to look up your voter registration information, learn how to vote triple. That's when you find 3 friends or family members and commit them to voting. And it's a super easy page where you can just learn about all of the calls to action that we have for you and ways that you can engage in our programs to help make sure that Vice President Harris and Coach Walz make it to the White House this coming November. So with that said, make sure you sign up at moveon.org/triple. Now for our first guest. Randi Weingarten is president of the American Federation of Teachers, a union of 1.8 million people who work in education, healthcare, and public services. The AFT is dedicated to the belief that every person in America deserves the freedom to thrive. Prior to her election as AFT president in 2008, Weingarten served for 11 years as president of the United Federation of Teachers, representing 200,000 educators in New York City's public school system. She taught history, one of my favorite subjects, even though I didn't do my homework, at Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn from 91 to 97, where she helped her students win several awards debating constitutional issues. Weingarten holds degrees from the Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations and the Cardozo School of Law. She practiced law at Struck and Lavin. I hope I said that right. She is involved in the Democratic National Committee, J Street, and other civic organizations. Weingarten resides with her wife, Rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum, in New York City. I would like for you all to please welcome with me President Weingarten. President, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you, Chris, so much. And I'm laughing because last night, Stacy and I were on a Zoom, and I was in an airport and she was in a car. And tonight, she looks like she's in her kitchen and I am in a car. But that's what we all do. And, Becky and I can see each other, I don't know, one day in Atlanta. I think next week we're going to be in Minnesota together. See, Sarah, we're going to be in your home state together. Antoinette, we're going to be with you at one point or another. But that's what we do as school teachers and also as unionists, because you have to meet people where they are. And in this election, more than probably any others, this is an election about trust. Unfortunately, not an election about truth. If it was an election about truth and about facts, it would be clear. Chris, you just went through it. Who is out there for opportunity and freedom, and who is trying to take opportunity and freedom away? And we see this every single day in state legislatures across the country and with some governors across the country. And I'm supposed to talk about a little bit of that in terms of the stakes. Think about what it means to a young person. This is banned books week. What it means to a young person if we're trying to teach a young person how to read and how to love reading, and they're told that their favorite books or books where they see themselves in are taken off of the shelves. They're not allowed to read them. Librarians in Project 2025 proposes will be told to register as sex offenders if they give a book out that someone else thinks is pornographic. This is the kind of stuff that we are faced with in schools all over. When you say to kids, this is how you learn how to think. When you learn about slavery, and then someone says, no, you cannot teach about slavery, or you cannot teach about 1619, or you cannot teach about the different sides of history in America. You can only teach some way that a Betsy DeVos or Donald Trump thinks about America, thinking that immigrants and the immigrant experience should be erased from America. This is what we're facing. And when we stand up and say, no, that's not right, that's not opportunity, that's not critical thinking, that's not freedom, then you have people like J.D. Vance telling us that we brainwash kids, or Mike Pompeo telling us that we're dangerous, because we try to teach the truth. We try to teach critical thinking. We try to teach problem solving. We try to see each child for his, her, or their God-given potential. One wonders why the other side is so afraid of knowledge and so afraid of who we are, the teachers on the screen, and what we do, why they're that afraid. But that's the stakes of this election. They want to fight against knowledge. They want to fight against all of us having opportunity. They want to fight and take away the funds that young people get, funds for disability, for kids with disabilities, funds for kids who are low income, funds for kids who want to go to career tech ed, funds for kids who want to go to college. And they want to give those funds to private schools where essentially the kids who have already gone to private schools are the ones who take those funds. They want to give them to voucher schools that have no regulations and have no prospects of pluralistic success for kids. All of these are facts. But, and I'm going to end here, this is an election because of all the misinformation and the mistruths and the anger. It is an election of hope versus fear. It's an election of aspiration versus anger. It's an election of democracy versus demagoguery. It's an election of pluralism versus polarization. And MoveOn and the teachers that are here, including my colleague, the 8th grade social studies teacher, Becky Pringle, and I was the 11th and 12th grade high school, AP teacher. What we're trying to do is we're trying to help kids thrive, see who they are, be their potential. And that's why we need an education system that is well-funded, where we wrap services around schools, where we do project-based instruction, and where we try and help each and every kid not only dream their dreams, but achieve them. That is the potential of Kamala Harris and Coach Walz. And that is why we are all in. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, President Weingarten, and thank you for your leadership. And it's so interesting as I'm listening to you speak, I am thinking about, even as I joke about not doing homework, which is only partial.
It's okay, Chris. We shouldn't be given so much homework anymore, frankly.
But I went to really great schools and really great public schools here in Chicago. And I think at least two of my teachers are watching tonight, Miss Mitchell and Miss Murphy, who really helped me become who I am and really helped me learn how to write and learn how to engage and learn how to speak. And where would I be if I had not had that leadership of those teachers who, when I didn't do my homework, would call my mother, right? And would make sure that I was on a straight and narrow. I am here today because of folks like all of you on this call. So I'm really honored to be with all of you tonight. So thank you so much for your time, President Weingarten. Thank you. I'm so excited. That was just our first speaker, and I am thankful for all the work that she does and all that she has done. So next, we're going to fly on over to Chicago, where I am. Chi-town. Stacy Davis Gates took office as president of the Chicago Teachers Union in July of 2022 and is a national leader in the labor movement and the progressive political organizing efforts. Davis Gates taught high school social studies in Chicago Public Schools before joining the CTU staff. As the political and legislative director for CTU, Stacy built coalitions and spearheaded legislative campaigns that established an elected school board for Chicago, the most substantial charter school accountability measure in the country. Her leadership greatly expanded the union's political vision, and Davis Gates focuses on community outreach and CTU's outspokenness about racism, privatization, democracy, women's rights, and other causes under her leadership have gained a national audience and made her a regular target of right-wing media, conservative activists, and corporate lobbyists. That's all right. They don't know you from Chicago. She lives on the south side of Chicago with her husband and 3 children. I am happy to introduce somebody who I have seen up close and personal really advocate for the people. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Please welcome, folks, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union, President Stacy Davis Gates. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
What's up, Chi-town?
Hey. Okay. Sorry.
Yes. First off, I'm honored to be on a panel with such amazing people. Shout out to Antoinette and Sarah. It is actually our rank and file members who are the infrastructure, the power, the conscience of our movement. These are the women who go into school communities every single day and make ends meet. They make sure that our young people are nurtured and educated. And they do this oftentimes without the resources, support, and respect that they deserve. So I want to say thank you to Sarah and Antoinette for not only working a full day and changing the world, but taking some time with us this evening to push widespread change all over this country. And then this moment that we are in right now is brought to us by President Becky Pringle of the NEA and my president, Randi Weingarten, president of AFT. These four women have created an opportunity for educators across this country to be heard in a way that will help to shape our country for the next 2 generations. And how did that happen? It happened because they have been very clear about calling forth more funding for our school communities. And that call went answered with the Biden-Harris administration. And that is what we have to take into this moment, is that they hear us when we call them. They hear us when we organize. So much so that the Biden-Harris administration made sure that public education was strengthened and resourced in ways in which have revolutionized school districts all over this country. Here in Chicago, we have been able to put a nurse and a social worker in our schools that realized the contract demand, right? But the money came because we have presidents at our unions who are pushing forth a bigger, bolder vision for what this should be. And that is the bridge that is going to carry us across these treacherous waters we're in right now. Project 2020 Freak Show is aimed at making us more marginal. It is aimed at whitewashing history. It is aimed at destroying both the public education that has made our nominee, vice president, presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, possible. A Black woman from a working class environment will be president of these United States because she got a public school education, right? And that alone is both liberatory and revolutionary. This idea that you can marginalize that which the vast majority of our children attend is ridiculous. And yet, that is what President Trump is attempting to do with his clown show partner, J.D. Vance. I want to make this clear. We win when we organize, and we have organized in a way that has given us more resources for our schools, but also our organization has called for a social studies teacher, a high school social studies teacher like myself, to be the vice presidential nominee. But he doesn't just get that because it was a popularity contest. He gets it because he was a rank and file member of our union. He gets it because he understood how to make ends meet. He gets it because early in the 90s, he had the temerity, the courage, and the love to embrace LGBTQIA plus students, and he became their club sponsor. He also gets it because as governor of Minnesota, he made sure that he funded a social worker to every school in his state from the state budget. Listen, we will have champions because they've already demonstrated their ability to lead, to resource, and more importantly, they have demonstrated an ability to hear us, to see us, and to work with us in coalition. I am absolutely excited about this opportunity that we have to put a teacher in the White House. I am absolutely excited about this opportunity that we have to take public education to the next level with two individuals who understand, appreciate, and the sanctity, the opportunity, and the promise of a public education. So I appreciate this opportunity that MoveOn is bringing forth to galvanize voters, to galvanize young people, to galvanize educators, to do the right thing and knock doors, right? Because we bring people out to vote. And there's no better door knocker than an educator. To make phone calls, there's no better phone banker than a retired teacher. This is our election to win. This is our country to strengthen. Listen, we are going to beat back attempts to make history into some story time narrative for white supremacists. We're going to do that. We're going to make sure that we put forth a vision of unity, a vision of justice, a vision of equity, because I trust what we've done together already. So thank you, educators. Thank you, MoveOn. Thank you, unionists, for standing in the gap and giving us the sharpest contrast to the freak show that is Trump and Vance and their merry band of 2020 freak show, clown show, circus participants. Let's win this race.
Thank you, President Gates. She said, freak show, clown show, circus. That's what I'm taking with me tonight. Thank you so much for your words, your wisdom, and your work. And all that you do for folks, not just in the city of Chicago, but throughout the country, and lending your voice to our members and friends across the country tonight. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate your time and all your effort. Thank you so much. And listen, folks, there are some real issues at stake in this election, from access to abortion to the right for our children to become enlightened and informed individuals. So I know that you are all on this call because you care about the stakes. So if you care about the stakes, go to moveon.org/triple. Go to moveon.org/triple, and you can, again, check your registration. You can commit to getting 3 of your friends and family members to vote. Don't worry, we will remind you to commit to tell them to go vote. We will follow up with you to make sure that you do that. And all the actions that we are taking as we are leading the work to make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. So again, go to moveon.org/triple to get involved today. I know a lot of people are like, how can I get involved? What should I do? There's 39 days left. Again, moveon.org/triple. All right. Now, okay, y'all. All right. I am so excited. Our next guest is no stranger to rolling up her sleeves and doing the work to make this world a more progressive, more attainable world where everybody, everyday people can thrive. President Becky Pringle is the president of the National Education Association, the largest professional employee organization and labor union in the United States, representing 3 million member educators across the country. She is a fierce social justice warrior, defender of educator rights, and an unrelenting advocate for all students and communities of color, and a valued and respected voice in the educational arena. As a middle school science teacher, now, you know, science, it took me a little bit. It took me a little bit. As a middle school science teacher with 31 years of classroom experience, Becky has a long and notable record of advocacy at the national, state, and local levels. She began her leadership journey as a local president and then went on to serve on the board of directors of the NEA and the Pennsylvania State Education Association. Becky also served with distinction on President Barack Obama's Commission on Educational Excellence for African Americans. Thank you for that. Those who know Becky best know that she is also a passionate Philadelphia Eagles fan. I had a Bears joke there, but never mind. I'm just gonna let that. I'm gonna just let it go. I'm gonna let it go. She loves anything purple, and for 2 special someone, she holds the coveted title of Best Nana Bee in the world. So I would like to introduce to all of you tonight, or better yet, present, because she is already known, President Pringle. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Welcome to tonight's call.
Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you didn't start any trouble here tonight, because we are all united in this space.
All united.
To win. That's what we're going to focus on tonight. Thank you so much, Chris. I am so honored to be joining you and representing the members of the National Education Association. We are this nation's largest union, and we have members in every single congressional district in this country. It's one of the reasons why we take our responsibility in this election so seriously, and we know the work that we have to do, and honestly, Chris, that we get to do together. You know, I am always honored to share space with my fellow labor union president, Randi, and it's a joy to join President Gates, always, and especially, it is an honor to be on this in this space with our educators, Sarah and Antoinette, who will bring that teacher voice. They'll tell us about real students and real educators and the communities that need the support of elected and appointed leaders across this country. And of course, our partnership with MoveOn grows deeper every year because we understand that it is only together that we will strengthen our democracy, and we will not only lead, but we will push and pull so that this country actually lives into the promise and the poetry of its Constitution, we the people, all of us. Let me also thank all of you that are joining us here tonight. Your presence indicates that in addition to showing up for our students in classes and work sites all over this country every day, you understand it's both your professional responsibility and your moral obligation to show up for the entire nation as we take advantage of these few days that we have left to cast votes across this country by November 5th. I would wager that every educator on this call, just like so many educators across our nation, has firsthand experience with the vitriol that has been aimed toward our profession by anti-educator, anti-union, anti-public education, anti-student politicians. We have all seen the increased marginalization by the MAGA right and Trump and Vance, marginalizing Black and Brown and AAPI and Indigenous communities, along with the rising hatred that they spew every time they open their mouths toward the LGBTQ plus community, and the attacks against educators' freedom to teach and our students' freedom to learn. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to turn the clock back even more. And we know it's all in their blueprint. You heard Stacy lay that out. I was going to say beautifully, but it's not beautiful. But she did an extraordinary job in laying out what is at stake in this election as you just read what they plan to do. And all we have to know is that we not only should listen to what people say they're going to do, but we have evidence in a Trump administration of what they will do. There are a lot of people that don't, not the people on this call, but a lot of people, Chris, that don't understand necessarily. When they say in Project 2025 that they're going to shut down the Department of Education, that actually goes to the heart of the Civil Rights Act that was passed in the late 60s, because education was a part of that. That's where the Elementary and Secondary Education Act came from, designed to say that the federal government has a role to play. When we talk about equity and access for all students, that is a role of the federal government and the state government and the local governments to ensure that that's true. We know that the Office of Civil Rights and the Department of Education fights for the rights of our students. They fight to make sure that our students with disabilities have access and opportunity. They fight to ensure that our students of color stay out of the school to prison pipeline. That work is critical. And who wants to not give universal free meals to children? Who? I'll tell you who. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Who doesn't want to make sure that our students have a good start? My mom was the head cook at Head Start, and she saw firsthand the importance of the beginning stages of that learning opportunity. Who wants to take that from our babies? Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. And who wants to make educators pay a higher percentage in taxes than billionaires? Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. But we are all here to say, not on our watch. We, educators, will honor our duty to demand our students have what they need and what they deserve. We will protect and promote and strengthen public education as the foundation of this, or quite honestly, any democracy. We will fight for the right of our students to be their authentic selves and for women to be able to make decisions about their own bodies. For the next 39 days, we will not rest. We cannot rest. We will do all we can to protect our democracy and elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. You heard Stacy lay it out. You heard Randi talk about why we must support those people who have supported us and our students and our communities and our colleagues and our country. They are proven champions. We're not just listening to what they say. We are looking at the evidence of what they've done, fighting for working families and unions and public education, making sure that our democracy sees us all. We need and we deserve a president who will lead with a commitment that we will not go back. We can only go forward, but we can't stop it. My NEA folks hear me say this all the time, that we have to position Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in a place where they can lead boldly, that they can feel that wind beneath their wings. And so we must win all the things, Chris, all of them. That's what we must do come this November. Up and down the ballot from the school board to the White House. We understand the assignment, and we will embrace those powerful words by Cesar Chavez. There's no turning back. We will win because ours is a revolution of the mind and of the heart. We will win. There is no turning back. So we will organize and we will mobilize and we will proselytize and we will do everything we must, because we know our babies are depending on us to be worthy of them. Chris, we are 39 days and 4 hours and 54 minutes and 46, 45, 44, 42, 41 seconds to do all we can to make sure that we save our democracy by electing Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Let's win all the things.
Okay, now hold on. Let me say this before you go, President Pringle. First of all, I got goosebumps, and that's not, I got goosebumps. But I just want to give you your flowers while I have the opportunity to do this, because the courage that it takes to stand in the gap and speak aloud and say what needs to be said, it is almost spiritual, right? And I just want to honor you for the space and the place that you hold as you stand in the gap for folks who may not even know you, right? And that is the power of this movement that we are in. The things that we do for folks who may not ever know our names, for generations who will come. There are going to be people who live certain lives because of the work of teachers like you, teachers that are on this call. And so I want to take this time, at this opportunity, to just say thank you for the work. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for being standing in the gap. Thank you for being an evangelist. I'm a church boy, so I lean on it, right? But thank you so much for standing flat-footed and telling the doggone truth. And I am so honored. I tried to write down half the stuff you were saying, and then I couldn't. I couldn't do it no more. But I do know that we're going to win all the things. That's what I heard. All the things. Okay, now that'll preach, but that's not the environment that I'm in tonight. But I thank you so much for your work, your tireless labor, and I'm so honored to be able to say this to you if we never speak again. Thank you for all the work that you've done, and thank you for being with us tonight and speaking to our members and your members and AFT's members and all the folks and friends who are listening. Thank you for all that you've done and all of your work. Whew, all the things. That's what I could take away from you. We're going to take all the things. Thank you so much, President Pringle, for being with us tonight. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, folks. Well, you heard, all the things. As President Pringle said, we are going all the things. So listen, I'm not going to talk too much because we still have two amazing, wonderful teachers to hear from tonight. So now I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our next two guests this evening. I must say that I am so grateful that they are here with us to share their stories. And so I'm going to introduce both of them, and then they are going to speak to us tonight. So first, I want to introduce to you Sarah Johnson. Sarah Johnson is a practicing public school teacher in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's my Oprah voice. In her over 25 years in St. Paul Public Schools, she has taught in elementary classrooms, coached new teachers as a peer assistant and review consulting teacher, supported licensed staff as an academic content coach, and mentored many teacher candidates in their student teaching experience. Sarah is a proud union member, participating actively in St. Paul's Federation of Educators Local 28. She has facilitated learning as a professional development instructor, been elected as an executive board member, and served as a strike captain during the SPFE's strike in 2020. She has also led professional development on school, family, and community partnerships and foundations of effective teaching for American Federation of Teachers. Ooh, that was a mouthful, y'all. Ooh, I gotta up my game. She was on a team of families and educators that launched the Parent Teacher Home Visit Project in St. Paul Public Schools and has trained other educators across the United States in this relational practice. And then after we hear from Sarah, we are going to hear from Antoinette Kalamag. Antoinette is a veteran educator in the school district of Philadelphia. Come on, brotherly love. In her years of service, she has taught biology at comprehensive high schools and at a high school dedicated to career and technology education. As a trusted leader in the school, Antoinette also serves as the athletic director and coach on several sporting teams. Yeah, you lost me with that one. I didn't do anything. Okay. Antoinette is committed to urban teaching in Philadelphia because she believes that educational equity is paramount and that every student deserves access to a quality education. So thank you so much to both of you for being with us tonight. I can't wait to hear from you. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Johnson.
Thank you so much, Chris. I hope I remembered to unmute correctly. It's getting a little, late in the day for teachers. It's close to bedtime. I don't know how Antoinette is staying awake, but she's got it. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really happy to chat with you all tonight. Because I'm from Minnesota, and there's a thing we have in Minnesota we call the politics of joy. It's just come on up, and I am hearing it when I'm listening to some things on the national stage, when I'm listening to Kamala, when I'm listening to Tim Walz. I'm hearing that politics of joy show up, and I'm excited about that, and I think you should be too. I think sometimes we always want to think about what is it that we don't want, but what is it that we're excited about? What is it that this election can bring? And so first off, I'm excited that Kamala Harris brings a pro-union stance into the White House. I teach in Minnesota. We're a merged state. I am fortunate enough to have both Becky Pringle and Randi Weingarten as my union presidents. And the work that they do makes a difference for me every day when I show up for the kids in my community. So I'm grateful to both of them. And it's union organizing that has helped make my job more effective in my job. So I'm super excited about that. Additionally, I want to give a shout out to CTU Stacy Davis right now, because the organizing that we did in St. Paul to get school counselors that we needed, to get mental health supports for kids, to work on some class size caps, to make them regional or reasonable, not great yet, but reasonable. That motivation and that organizing we learned from CTU. And so thank you. So I'm excited that we can have someone in the White House who understands how unions help workers do their jobs better, and that raises the professionalism of the work we do. So I'm excited about that. The other thing I'm excited about is having Tim Waltz. And a lot of you are like, Tim who? And now you're getting to know little glimpses of him, and you're like, who is this Tim Waltz? People calling him Coach Waltz. I'm just going to keep this brief so Antoinette can stay awake till the end. You got this. But there are three main reasons I'm excited about Tim Waltz coming from here in Minnesota to you all. So you probably have heard that we have free lunches for all of our kids in Minnesota schools now. It came out of our last legislature. So I used to, when I would do my grocery shopping for my family, I'm a single mom with 3 kids, I would throw other things into the cart for other people's kids, because when a child's not hungry, they are not able to focus and learn. So instead of having this be like, if some teachers sometimes have the money in their budgets on the slide to feed kids, in Minnesota now, there is breakfast, there is lunch. You will have the food you need. And you and I know that a program that's for everybody is a better program because it's good food. Like, I buy the meal because it's good. It's not like, oh, you should be grateful. Here's your piece of peanut butter and jelly, old whatever sandwich. No, it's like healthy, good, nutritious food for all of our kids. So I hope that that gets a little more traction nationwide, because it already is making a difference in how kids are showing up in my classroom this year. So I'm excited about that. Thing number 2 I'm excited about is I believe that this is a time for us to do something about common sense gun laws. And when I hear my governor talking about, yes, he understands gun culture, he's a hunter, all of those things that people can be in Minnesota and around the country, but we need to make sure that our kids are as safe at school. It's more important than having access to guns. Common sense gun laws is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about crazy stuff. We're talking about our kids deserve to learn without being threatened. And last week we had to do our lockdown drill. And if you've ever had to sit in classrooms of 2nd graders and kindergartners and walk them through how they need to be silent so we can trick an intruder into thinking we're not there, and maybe they go shoot someone else instead. No, thank you. And the look on children's faces when we practice it, the tension, that's not necessary. We should be able to safely be in our schools. So I'm excited about that. The last one's personal for me. So my child is transgender. One of my 3 children is transgender. And in the state of Minnesota, we passed some laws that make Minnesota a safe refuge, right? So we still have a ways to go in our state, but the hatred and bullying for queer, for LGBT, that is not welcome. That is not welcome. And I am excited to put someone into office who's going to advocate for all of our children's rights. And so that's why I'm excited. Let's have ourselves some politics of joy. Replay what Randi and what Becky said. Replay that. I don't know. That was spiritual. Yes. So thank you for having me on. I'm going to toss it over to Antoinette. Thanks for, East Coast even. You're still on. All right. Thank you all.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to do this. My first rodeo as a panelist, and I really need everybody to understand that the Pennsylvania perspective, we are a must-win state. And so the issues that are seen across the nation, for us, it is painfully, tortuously in our face, day in, day out. And one of the biggest things that we're battling here in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania is the misinformation, the lies, the demonization of educators, and not just educators, but just the Harris Waltz ticket. In terms of that, the Harris Waltz tickets, they're going to save us. They are going to help us. We can bring back, the joy that Sarah talked about and other people talked about to this nation. It's not about partisanship. It is about coming together to bring back just decency, joy, understanding the other side's perspectives, and coming to some sort of compromise. Specific to education, in Philadelphia, we know firsthand what underfunding does to students. We pushed back that when we had a certain governor a few years back, he took away not just millions, but billions of dollars of funding from Philadelphia, and we are still trying to recover from that. And in terms of having somebody like Tim Walz in the White House with Harris is going to be, it's going to be remarkable to have that kind of firsthand perspective in terms of that. But in terms of, again, pushing back, in terms of fighting, when we fight, we win. When we mobilize, we win. We need to do this together. I had the experience just last weekend. We had a canvassing opportunity here in Philadelphia, and the members of UFT from New York, they came down here understanding that we need help. And we really, really, really appreciated that. Again, going back to what we need in schools. I don't know why the other side is demonizing teachers as if we're trying to indoctrinate children into some crazy, cultist sect of nonsense. Again, pushing back on those lies. Groups like Moms for Liberty and DeVos's American Federation for Children, they create these culture wars which pit parents against educators. And that is far from the truth of what is happening in public schools. Teachers aren't doing that. Teachers are trying to not only teach content, but basic life skills, how to be decent people, how to critically think. And I am very proud that I teach at a career technical education school, which is going to provide a pathway to the middle class for my students, and they will be financially secure when they leave high school. Again, here in Pennsylvania, when the culture wars of these, the negativity and the demonization of the educators, we fought back, we pushed back, we spoke the truth. And even in terms of those who may not agree with us, if you are persistent and just speak the truth, hopefully you can get across to those who don't really understand what's at hand. Going back to what we can do to win this election, to really mobilize, there's a lot of things. They say, time, talent, treasure. What can you do? Do you have a talent? Are you a good speaker? Do you have the time? Some people don't have the time to canvass, or they might be physically unable to do so, but certainly they can, pick up a phone, call, you can text, do things like that. We're having a postcard event at my school, and we are trying to persuade the union members. Actually, believe it or not, there are union members who aren't registered voters, which is a little bit kind of dumbfounding, but ensuring that there's a plan. There's a plan that people are registered, but also that they vote. It does no good if you're registered and you're not voting. And then in terms of treasure, I know everybody gets the 15 million emails and the text saying, please give, please give. But if everybody just contributes what they can, then that little bit, it adds up to a lot. And, we have to keep that in mind. A lot of people think, I don't have anything to offer. My vote, my effort, my opinion doesn't matter, but it does. Not just persuading and people that you don't know, knocking on doors and canvassings, but influencing the people you do know. I have a lot of family members who are first-time voters, and they're trying to figure it out. I come from a family that is very divided in politics, and trying to have rational conversations with certain family members, it's challenging. So again, really, really thinking about how can you influence the people in your realm, not just strangers, but families, friends. We need to do that. You need to do that. I need to do that. And again, the sphere of influence, you can talk to 1 or 2 or 3 people, and maybe they'll get the message and they will want to join the cause and help, knock on doors and other things. So it's not overwhelming to mobilize when we do it together. And again, as an educator, my big thing is that I want my students to know that with Harris and Walz, there will be a better, brighter America for them. And in Philadelphia, as you may or may not know, we have a lot of Black and brown children who, they look around and they think, well, why I can't vote. Well, they hear things, and can maybe those freshmen, sophomores, juniors who are paying attention in social studies classes might, reach out to their parents and say, hey, mom and dad, we think you should vote. And again, giving a voice to those who can't vote is just as important as influencing people who can vote. So that's one of the things that, as a coach and a teacher, as a coach, we're all about the motivation. We're all about the rally cry. We're all about the, go out there. You can do this. You can do this together. As a team, we can do this as laborers, as educators, and not just unionists, but just activists in terms of going out there to make sure that Harris and Walz are in the White House. And this election, again, is about, Sarah, what you said, it's about joy. It's about joy. It's about positivity. It's about making sure that there is a democracy for all of us. And again, partisanship, this is not what this election is necessarily about. It's about unifying. And I think that's the biggest difference between the two choices, Harris and Walz. Harris has made it clear that she will fight for all Americans, and we need to win over the undecided voters. We need to win over the people who haven't really haven't made a decision, but also to try to persuade those who thought they were going to vote for a certain someone on the other side. And hopefully we can convince them that Harris Walz is the way to go. And really, Chris, that's what my message is to everyone is everybody can play a part. We can do this together. Go out there, as educators, let's educate everyone why this election is important. Let's educate them on the issues beyond education, the issues of reproductive rights, the economics, healthcare, all these different issues. Let's educate, mobilize, and here's my little parentheses. We know from past elections, polls, they give information, but they really don't matter. If people sit down and they think, oh, Harris and Walz, they're going to win. My state's going to win. The poll says they're going to win. We have to go out and vote. And I know in Florida right now, there's like this crazy weather. It's easy to vote when it's sunshiny and the walk is easy, but let's plan for the worst, and it's going to be rainy, crappy. So what is your plan? What is our plan? And hopefully, again, we can do this together as educators, as unionists, as just citizens to get Harris and Walz into the White House. And pretty much that's all I have to say. Like I said, this is my first rodeo, but I'm fired up, and I hope you're fired up too, to go out there and get people to vote, and to vote. So.
Oh, right. Well, I love how you keep saying this is my first rodeo. Well, I mean, you done rode that horse, and we got the message. You definitely gave us the coach pep talk, and I really appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much, Antoinette. Thank you so much, Sarah, for all the work that you do as teachers right now, the lives that you're affecting right now, the students that you have right now. Thank you for all of your work and all that you do. I was trying to take notes. Like, I feel like this is class. You have to take notes, and one of the themes that kept coming around with all of the speakers tonight was joy. And this is a moment of joy. We have not experienced a lot of joy. And sometimes you have to take joy by the reins and you hold on to it. And so we are in this moment where we are able to really energize and mobilize folks. Folks are seeing it. Folks are passionate. Folks are engaged. Let's educate them. Let's continue to do the work to make sure that people all over the country know about the issues and know about how to go vote, make sure that they are registered to vote, make sure that we get out, make sure that we call 3 friends, make sure that we do the work that needs to be done. To your point, Antoinette, it doesn't matter what anybody says. We have to still do the work. We still pound the pavement. And when we organize, we win. So thank you so much for all the work that you've done. Listen, y'all, I am so excited about this call tonight. This has been a really magical moment. And so I would like to thank Sarah. I would like to thank Antoinette. I would like to thank President Pringle, President Gates, President Weingarten for spending some time with us tonight and really allowing us a space to really educate and talk about the issues in a forum, and also lift up joy and lift up passion and lift up hope and lift up a better future. So we have 39 days left, just 39 days. Everything we do to secure that the win for Kamala Harris and Coach Walz to win Tuesday, November 5th matters. Every call matters. Every person you tell to vote matters. Every person you canvass matters. You've heard a lot tonight. Now it's time to apply what you've learned. You already know what you can do. Go to moveon.org/triple. Again, that's moveon.org/triple to check your registration, to triple your impact by reminding 3 people to vote, and more. It's super easy to use and navigate. You can even give it to your friends. So don't wait. You're already at your computer. Go there now. So from our friends at NEA, AFT, and at MoveOn, I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. There's 39 days left. What are you doing now to make sure success happens on November 5th? Thank you so much, everyone. You have a wonderful evening. I'll see you in the field.